Hi everyone, welcome to Cupboard Creations. My name's Gareth and this is my little corner of the internet for playing with my food. Today I'm going to do for you my Spanish meatballs. Now I only just came up with this recipe. It's New Year's Day, thought we'll have something a bit different, away from the usual Christmas stuff and leftovers, and decided to do some tapas. And I wanted to give these a go because I had them in Barcelona and they are beautiful. And so I want to put my own little twist on it, try it out myself. So these are Spanish meatballs. I think in Spanish they are called Albondigas. I apologise profusely for my pronunciation if that is completely wrong, but if anyone does know, please let me know. I would love to hear how you're meant to say it. So let's get cracking. Nice and easy. First thing we're going to do is just create our mix. So what we're going to need is a bowl, and you're going to need 250 grams of pork mince. So I've got mine here. Quite simply, just going to whack that in the bowl. There we go. Move that to the side. Now we need half a medium onion. So we'll grab one of these and we're going to cut this up really small dice. There we go. So like I say, these are really tiny dice on this, just because we don't want really big lumps in there because it'll make it really hard for it to all bind together. So we can whack those in, like so. And then we want 2 cloves of garlic. So grab my 2 cloves. Use those 2. The other one was a bit small. So again, just like the onion, we're going to cut this up really fine. Okay, now we're going to add in some bacon. Now we want to do this because we want that little bit of fat and that little bit of extra kind of smoked flavour. So I'm going to use 4 rashers of streaky smoked bacon. And we're going to chop this up really, really small. So there you go, we're almost dicing this, almost like a mince. Brilliant, so that's done. So we've just got these tiny little bits of bacon. We just want to add that into that mix. And then quickly go give our hands a wash. Right, so those your basis there. Now we're going to add in a few little things here. So we want to add in some parsley, except for my hands are soaking wet and I can't open it. Got it. So we're going to add in half a teaspoon dried parsley into there, and then we're going to add in 2 teaspoons smoked paprika. Now this with the garlic is just going to bring that kind of chorizo type flavour to it all. We want a fair bit, so we're going to add in 2 full teaspoons of that. Then I've got some panko breadcrumbs here. Now you can use any type of breadcrumb, but you don't want much, small handful, about 15 grams. And now what that's going to do is it's going to help bind it, but also we're going to put in some wet ingredient into this in a second, and this will help soak it up, so it will keep that flavour inside and you won't have it all leaking out. So we can dump those in. Get my board to the side. And then our port. So you can use red wine for this, something like a nice Rioja. Keep it with the Spanish, be really great. But I really like that depth of flavour you get with the port. So we've got 50 ml of port here. We can add that in as well. Like I say, those panko breadcrumbs, because they're nice and crisp, they'll kind of soak that port mixture up and they'll distribute it much better through the meatballs. So now it's a case of just getting your hands dirty. Give that all a mix in. Right, so we've mixed it in a little bit there. Just going to add in a bit of salt and pepper. So, good pinch of salt. Like so. And then a good couple of grinds of black pepper. Lovely. Then straight back in. Just going to mix it all through until it's quite fine. You can't see any of those lumps of pork mince anymore. Okay, so this is what we're looking for. It's all come together and got a nice good meatball there. Don't worry about the fact that your hands end up looking like you've had a really bad spray tan. It will wash off, I promise. Brilliant. So that's all done. That's all we need to do for now. Meatball mixture is all ready. Just going to cover it and chill it in the fridge for about an hour or so. That will just let it kind of firm up a bit. So when we stick it in the oven, it's just going to hold itself together better. So I'll get cracking with that one. And I'll catch you back here in about an hour. Right, welcome back. So we've got our meat mixture here. Got a tray. Now it's all nice and simple. We're going to oven cook this just because it's easier. So all we want to do, grab our little thing and make them into about sort of golf ball size shapes. That's a bit of a large golf ball. There we go. Okay, so they're all done. It's made a good 12, probably, meatballs. Was that 12? What was it? 18. Not 12. It's made about 18 meatballs. So that, for me, that's easily enough for 2 people. If you're having this as a main, which I'm going to today. If you'd want this as a tapas, make it a little bit smaller. This amount, probably going to serve 4 people quite easily. So all we got to do now is we've got a sweet red pepper here. And we just want to cut that into small rings and chuck them in the pan. And this is one of the main reasons why we're going to oven cook this one. Those sweet peppers, when they're roasted, just taste absolutely fabulous. Get a real deep flavour to them. It goes so well with this. And that's it. Now I'm just going to put those in the oven, 180 degrees C for half an hour. Every so often, just pop it open, give them a quick turn around just so they don't stick. So talking about not sticking, worth drizzling them just with a little bit of vegetable oil. Depending on how good your non-stick pans are. But that would just bring out that kind of roasted flavour in there. So we'll whack those in the oven and then we can start cracking on with the sauce. Right, for the sauce, only thing we need to prep over here is just a bit more onion. So the other half of that onion you used earlier, just gonna dice that up again. It can be fairly rough with this. The sauce is going to end up blended, so any large lumps will just naturally disappear. Perfect. So now we're just going to go straight over to the hob and we can get started on the sauce. Right, first things first, we're just going to sweat those onions off. Just want a little bit of oil in the pan, low temperature, and pop your onions in. Nice and easy. We're going to sweat those down for 10 minutes or so, just so they soften right down. Right, so that's my onions, nicely sweated down. Now we're just going to add in just a tin of plum tomatoes. Use chopped tomatoes. Get those in there. And then you want to add about half a tin of water as well. So always like to swill it around the tin, just to get the last of those juices out. Go. Then we're going to add a few more little extras. This is essentially a Bravas sauce, which you might know from tapas, with little lumps of potato all covered in this beautiful kind of spicy tomato sauce. So to make that nice and simple, onions, tomatoes, a little bit of water, and we're going to add in a 1/4 teaspoon of ground chilli. Said a quarter. There's me using a 1/2 teaspoon, so I'll only use half of that. I want it spicy, but I don't want to blow your head off completely. So then we want Tabasco. Now I'm going to use about 10 drops of this. This is all down to your taste. I love really spicy food. So 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 and a bit. Yeah, cut down on the Tabasco or leave out the chilli if you want to just tone down just that little bit. And then last thing you're going to add is some red wine vinegar. So we want a tablespoon of this. Doesn't seem like a lot. You will really notice that when you get that final sauce all done. It's just got this slightly vinegary edge to it, which comes from that vinegar and a bit in the Tabasco as well. And it just gives it something a bit extra. So that's it. That's as simple as our sauce really is. We just need to give those a little bit of a chop up because they're enormous. And we can pop the lid on, bring that up to a simmer, and leave it 15 minutes just simmering away. Brilliant, so that should now be done. Should be a lot softer, hopefully. Yeah. Falls right through those tomatoes. So that's ready to get blended. Now to try and get it in the blender. Should be right at the start. It's the lumpy bits that are the problem. Ooh, failure. Tastes delicious. Might need some assistance. Last of all of the little bits of onion out of there. So we stick that back over here. Now give it a whiz up. It's got some kick to it, this one. Perfect. You can feel that's a pretty good consistency. You might need a quick 5 minutes just while the rest is finishing off. I just got to try and get it open. That's the problem with these things. Every time you do a hot blend, it creates an airlock. Ow. There we go. Perfect. Just give that a bit of a taste. That's good. It's good. Could do just a bit of salt. Just going to put a good pinch of salt in there. Perfect. Now we'll grab back our pan and we'll just return this to the heat for the last 5 with the lid off, just to kind of reduce it down just ever so slightly, just get a bit more thickness into the sauce. But it's pretty good. And you can see it's quite gloopy. So there we are. That's just slightly too liquid for me. Just want it a little bit thicker. So that last 5. While the meatballs are finishing off, we just whack it on the hob and simmer it down with the lid off. Right, shall we see what we've got? Brava sauce is all reduced down a bit. It's just that perfect sauce consistency. And we're just going to get these out. So I've got my little potatoes there. And there's my meatballs, looking absolutely stunning. So now we're just going to serve it all up, nice and easy. Grab myself a couple of these. Try and do it one hand, not easy. Perfect. And then grab some of these. Best to use a slotted spoon when you're serving it up, because that pork mince and the bacon will let out a fair bit of fat, and you don't really want that in there. So there we go. Let's make sure I only take half. Otherwise my wife will wonder where all her food went for the evening. So there we go, that's that served. And we're just going to drizzle on some of that Bravas sauce. Absolutely perfect. A little bit over the potatoes as well. Lovely. So there we go, that's my Spanish meatballs. Got little Bravas potatoes with them. So it's all A couple of different types of tapas, all just making one main meal, and it works beautifully. Easily served too. If you want it as tapas, you're going to get 6 people out of this. So I hope you give it a go. I hope you enjoy it, and I'll catch you next time. Cheers.